Welcome to the Class of 87 podcast, where the memories are a little blurry, the laughter's still loud, and nobody's quite sure how we all got this old. We're catching up with the legends of Bryanston High, the rebels, the prefects, the heartthrobs, and the ones who just tried not to get caught, to find out where life took them and what they remember or pretend to remember about those unforgettable years. Today, our guest is Sonja Von Poncet, and we are looking completely forward to that conversation. In the studio, as always, we have Peter Fanico, we have David Hugo, I'm Barry Bramley, and today our new interviewer is Jackie Daera. Pete, over to you.
Hey Sonja, it's so great to talk to you. Like Barry embarrassingly said, I didn't remember you, but I did remember your photos, so it's obviously hot. What I'd like to do is just go through the opening thoughts and your school memories, and then take a little bit of time to think about this. How did you end up at Bryanston High School, and when did you arrive? Were you there from standard 6?
Sure. Firstly, it's great to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a bit of a daunting thought when you first reached out to me. Happy to share what I do remember selectively. I landed up at Bryanston High by natural default. I was a Bryanston primary student from standard 1, I think, back in those days. And sort of extended family had all gone to Bryanston High. So it was just a natural extension that I would also go down the road to Bryanston High, I guess.
Were they all drug addicts?
No, they were all terribly smart academics. So I was the black sheep in that proverbial family.
So when you think back to Bryanston High, what's your first image and memory that comes to mind? And I must just add, we must have been at Bryanston Primary together, but you're obviously in the A stream and I was in the D stream, so we never met.
Look, I'll be honest, I don't really remember much about school. It's a little bit of a blur. It was more a case of trying to survive it. And not stand out as much as possible. So yeah, I don't remember you either, to be totally honest.
That's cool. Most girls don't.
Yeah.
Okay, you shouldn't have to agree. So is there any image or memory that stands out? Your first day at school at Bryanston High?
So I think Bryanston High School for me, I mean, what I do remember very clearly is rolling the sleeves. As girls, we used to roll our sleeves. We used to roll up our skirts and we used to roll down our socks. And then we would sit in the corridors in the sun in winter and try and tan our legs. And that's probably the most vivid memory I have of the time there.
The sad thing is I remember the rolling down of the socks, not the skirts part. Okay, cool. What's the one thing that you did at school you probably wouldn't your kids to know about, or kids to know about in general?
You know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. I was such a nerd. And I was so shy and introverted. I actually wanted to just blend into the walls if I possibly could. So I don't have any massive stories of bad behavior. I did reserve a lot of that for out of school, but not in school. I towed the line in school. I was quite boring, actually.
Okay, but then this next question is going to hit the ground. If you could put your uniform on for only one day, back there, what would you do?
I wouldn't give a shit.
I thought so, but what would you do? Be honest.
What would I do? I think I would, you know what? I think it's just a case of having a view and looking back on your sort of younger self. I wouldn't take life so seriously. I wouldn't be so worried about everything, you know? All that teenage angst that one lived through back in those days. It's all pointless, really.
So okay, do you have any seriously embarrassing? I know you felt like you didn't want to be noticed, but did you have any seriously embarrassing moments or a funniest school memory?
You know, when I listened to Jackie's podcast, I thought to myself, she was always the life and soul of the classroom and the corridor. She was loud and she was vivacious. I can't say that I've got any massively embarrassing memories. I do remember walking along the corridor and one girl's tampons falling all over and down the stairs. And everyone scattered in 50,000 different directions. I was embarrassed, but it was not on my behalf. So, yeah, you know, you have all those kind of awkward moments in high school.
Son, you were a dancer, right? I remember you were at ballet or something.
Yeah. So I did ballet and I did modern. So that was my life. I just needed to survive school so that in the afternoons, I could go to dance class. That was
I do remember that about you, that you were a ballerina. Okay.
Do you still do anything like that, or was that school stuff and moved on?
Well, I did it well into my early 20s, but then, life takes over. And then I transitioned into the aerobics era. And then from there, I transitioned into teaching water aerobics, that sort of thing. But I don't dance anymore.
How many toes did you break?
I never broke any toes, but I sprained my ankle, something silly. Yeah.
My last question, this is something like I have vivid memories of, you might not have. Your matric vac, who did you go with?
No, listen, our matric holiday was amazing. It was absolutely awesome. It was Chantal Hunter, myself, and Leanne Hunter. And there was someone else with us. I can't remember now. We drove down to...
This sounds like total trouble.
It was trouble. We drove down to the south coast, to Margate, and we stayed in this funny little sort of communal kind of digs. And we had huge fun. I think Gavin Painting and that whole crew was there. Chantal was obviously going out with Grant Holland at the time, which is why we all landed up going that route. Yeah, we had lots of fun.
All right, Son, so we're going to talk about life since 1987.
Okay.
After matric, what path did you take, and did it go as planned?
Well, nothing ever really goes as planned, but I went to business college for a year after school, and then I actually moved down to Plett and started working for the Beacon Island Hotel. That's how I landed up in Plett originally.
Wow.
So I worked for Southern Sun for a couple of years in Plett, and then I was transferred to Cabana Beach in Umhlanga. And at one stage, I was then transferred back to Plett. In between that, I did live in Germany for a year, just traveling and sort of working in a family little B&B setup. But I was so homesick. So when I came back, I actually landed up coming back to the Beacon Island in Plett. And then after a couple of years, I actually started my own business. I went into the sort of health and wellness space. I ran my own setup with massage treatments and reflexology treatments and magnetic field therapies. And I ran that for, almost 17 years in and around Plett.
Wow.
And then I had my son. And I landed up being a single parent, which was not the plan originally, and actually moved back to Joburg when he was about 5 to then step into a corporate career, which again was just by default. Landed up in a recruitment role working for the Kelly Group, and from there just worked my way up. Landed up coming across to the company that I'm with at the moment. And yes, I've been with them now for 15 years, and they've afforded me the opportunity to work remotely from Plett. So I was able to come home again after my son finished school. And so I get to live out of Plett again and travel a lot, but still have the Joburg job, but live the lifestyle in Plett, which is amazing.
That's such a great story. Gee.
Yeah.
What's one unexpected turn your life took that you never saw coming?
I think when my father passed away, that was probably completely and utterly unexpected. So he passed away a week after my 21st. And he was young when I think about the age that we're at now. He was 59. And then you think, I mean, he seemed old to me back in the day, but now when you're like in your mid to late 50s, you suddenly start thinking, oh my gosh, that was so young, So I think that was really unexpected. Being an only child, dealing with my mom and obviously the grief that she was going through, never really allowing myself to grieve because I felt like I had to be strong. I think that was a really tough time.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what's let's change to something maybe a little lighter. What's something 17-year-old you would be shocked to know about who you are today?
I think I would never have believed that I could grow into the confident person that I am today. I think I was so wrapped up in so much angst and anxiety as a teenager. I'd never believed that life could be different. So when I think what I've achieved in the last 15 years alone, if someone had told me that at 17, I would never have believed it.
When you talk to other friends from school, I think that's a similar story. It's amazing that.
It's amazing. If you could almost wish you could almost tell your kids, listen,
get over yourself.
Right there. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Literally,
No, absolutely. Who or what has been your biggest influence or turning points in school?
In what context?
I mean, when you think about school or since school, and you think about a particular event or you think about a particular person that created a massive turning point for you? Who or what was that?
So I think, I mean, the reality in my world is definitely when I had my son. I think having my son, and he was, I think, 6 months old when I made the choice to then be a single parent. I think that was a massive turning point for me, because up until that point, I'd lived a very relaxed life. I mean, I've been living in Plett. I was working in the hotels, didn't have a 9 to 5. It was quite an untraditional lifestyle. And I think having my son really changed my perspective on everything. So that for me was probably the biggest turning point.
Can you tell me what that perspective change was?
Well, it's not about self-indulgence anymore. It's not about living your own life. I was always fairly independent, and it was all about the lifestyle I wanted to live. I wanted to work 6 months of the year, travel 6 months of the year. And I did that pretty much for 15, 16, 17 years, you know. I would work the summer season in Plett, and then I would go to Europe for 3 or 4 months during the European summer, maybe work a bit, maybe not, travel. So I was a real gypsy. And then obviously having my child, it was like, okay, now you need to actually get serious. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about how am I going to, firstly, keep him alive, and secondly, give him a life, you know, that offers him an opportunity to step forward on his own.
Yeah.
So.
And Sonja, if I may just jump in and ask, maybe you want to explain that the father, is he still involved?
His name's Bryanston. He's a lovely guy. We're still very close friends, actually. In fact, he was at my house earlier assembling my sun lounges that I just ordered off Takealot.
He still has his uses.
Yeah, he's very useful that way. You know what? The pregnancy was unexpected. So it wasn't a planned pregnancy. We'd only been dating for about a year at the time. He was 5 years younger than me. So it was a little bit of I think more of a shock. A little bit more of a shock to his system than to mine. You know, I was 30. I was ready to settle down and have kids. And he most definitely wasn't. So when I had my son, it was more like I had 2 children in the house, and I wasn't up for it.
So that's actually quite strange, because I had my kids with someone 8 years older than me. And I was also sort of 28-ish, and it was also an unplanned pregnancy. And then sort of even more shocking, it turned out to be twins. I went from like footloose and fancy-free into, marrying kids in less than a year.
Yeah, it's a massive shift. And I mean, you know, at the time it was really, really difficult to process, because I was so ready to settle down, and I was prepared to make that commitment and all of that. But he was 25. He was a youngster.
I actually think my ex-wife probably also thought she had 3 kids at once.
Well, listen, I got one of my staff members pregnant, but I suppose it's all the same story.
Oh my God, that's a story I need to hear.
Story for another podcast, isn't it?
Clearly.
All right, Sonja, that's the end of my section. While we're talking about fathers and sons and moms and wives and not wives, I'm going to hand over to Jackie for her section. Over to you, Jack.
Cool.
Hello, son.
How's
I've
it?
had the chance to connect with you over the past couple of years. It's great to be in touch again.
Absolutely.
It's also lovely to hear some of the names that you recall from school. If you ever do make touch with Chantal Hunter, I would love to also reconnect with her. I've got very fond memories of Chantal.
Yes, absolutely.
Sansa, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about family and personal life. Tell us a little bit about yours. Partners, past or present, kids, pets, anyone else who fills your home.
So no current partner at the moment. So single and footloose and fancy free. My son is, him and I obviously grew up together. So him and I have a really, really awesome relationship. He lives in Croatia, actually. So I'm really looking forward to going to visit him soon. It's just me, my mom, and my son. And then actually, funnily enough, 2 of my best friends in Plett are ex-Bryanstonians, but we weren't friends at Bryanston. We became friends here in Plett. Don't know if you remember Kira White.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
She was ahead of us, I think.
Yes, she was a year ahead of us. Kira, and she's one of my best friends. And then another lady, Sharita Stain, she actually left Bryanston. I think she was 3-4 years ahead of us. So she left Bryanston a couple of years. I think we might have only been in the same school for a year or something. But So it's funny. So even away from Bryanston, the birds flock together, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, you're making me think that there are only 6 degrees of separation because you throw a name like Kira White out, and I know you're in Platt, and I have a friend, Tim Dean, and I'm sure Kira and Tim had some.
I know Timmy
yeah.
so well.
Small place.
Yeah, I know Timmy so well. I cackled when I heard you mention him on your podcast.
So, son, it sounds like you've learned lots about family and relationships. But is there anything specific that you wish you knew back then when you're at school that you know now about family and relationships in particular?
I think as I've gotten older, I've always been very reserved, is maybe the wrong word, but I've been more of an observer than a participator. I think that's just my nature. But friendships are so deeply special. I mean, we all need community. I think it's the very core of who we are as human beings, you know. We've learned to be brothers and we've learned to be sisters by default. And we learn how to be leaders and we learn how to be bosses and we learn how to be team players in a work context. But Simon Sinek actually goes on about it quite a lot. I don't think we've ever really learned to be really, really good friends. So I think if I could consciously go through my life again, that is definitely something I would pay more attention to. Just like a marriage, a friendship relationship takes effort. Got to make the effort to stay in touch, stay connected. So that's definitely something I think I would focus on more.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Friendships are really, really important. I've got some very special friendships in my life too. And Sonja, tell us a little bit about how you spend your free time these days. Any hobbies, passions, or quirks?
Hobbies, passions, or quirks. By default, I live in one of the most beautiful places in the country. So I'm a walker. I'm a hiker if I get the opportunity. Nothing massively, I won't do the Otter Trail or anything. Don't get me wrong.
You should do the Otter Trail one day if you like.
I don't think I'll do that. But, there are so many opportunities to go hiking and walking in this area. And that is one of the things I absolutely love, to be outdoors and to be active.
You are on the right part of the world for that. Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
And so my last question for you, a little bit more serious. Have you ever had a life disaster? I mean, anything that you're comfortable telling us about?
No, there's nothing that springs to mind. I mean, other than relationship disasters.
Well, that's a good thing, not to have any life disasters.
Okay, Sonja, next section, work and purpose.
Okay.
What's the line of work that you're in now? I mean, you've told us about your history, but you didn't give any detail as to actually what you do. And how did you get to this particular position?
Okay, sure. So my job currently is I'm the HR director for a management consulting firm. Our head office is based out of Cape Town. We have an office in Sandton as well. We've got a staff headcount of about 175 people. We've got a small satellite office in Stellenbosch, one in PE and one in London. And I run with the entire HR strategy, HR operations, and everything that comes with dealing with a lot of people all day and every day.
I'm sure. So the progression to here, you told us the spots, but was it a straight line or a bit of a scenic route?
No, it was very much a scenic route. I mean, I literally packed my suitcase and my child and my cat and drove to Joburg in my little, what was it back in those days? It was a little Polo, and moved in with my mom and literally had to pound the pavement to now find a job. And that's when I landed up at Kelly in recruitment, which was phenomenal. I mean, the training that I received there was just, world class. And then I got promoted and I landed up at a couple of sister companies within the Kelly group. And then actually the company that I work for now became my client. And I started resourcing for them. And that's how I met, the company that I currently work for. And then they were going through a massive growth spurt at that point, and they wanted someone in-house. And I put my hand up, and that's kind of, I got the opportunity to start an HR function from the ground up and literally start the operations from A to Z. And then as we've grown and progressed, I've obviously employed a team. And then, about 3 years ago, I was promoted to a director role and onto the board.
Right, so just to help the people listening, when you started at Beacon Island, you said that was your beginning. What were you doing then when you were at Beacon Island? And then you went to Gabbana Beach.
Yeah, so my hotel stint was all in the sports and entertainments. So I was part of the entertainments team, did the kiddies entertainment, taught the aerobics classes, did all the hikes, all the excursions, all the outings, took people water skiing. It was very much the sports and entertainment sort of coordinator role. And then I actually took over the running of the gym at the Beacon Island independently. So I ran the gym and did the aerobics for them independently. And then I started a salon in the Beacon Island as well. So
All right. So it's very scenic. That's the scenery that I was looking for.
Yeah.
When you look back on your career, Sonja, what's something that you're proud of professionally?
I think the fact that I just took whatever opportunity was in front of me and I just ran with it. I was not scared to work hard. I was not scared to get my hands dirty. I remember when I started in recruitment, I was given it's a sales role essentially. And what did I know about sales? I didn't even know how to turn on a computer when I started at the Kelly Group. They gave you had a sales target of 100,000 Rand a month. And I was like, oh, okay. And I started focusing and just doing what I needed to do. And then I think it was in my 4th month, the CEO of the Kelly Group actually phoned me personally to say what a phenomenal job I was doing. And it was only then that I realized that actually no one ever reached their sales targets. And I had, from month 1, I had hit my sales target every single month. And actually that year, I won a trip to London for being one of the top R1 million sellers at the Kelly Group. So I never thought that I could do that.
Well done. That's incredible.
Sure.
Have you ever had a total career disaster or maybe a funny work story that you'd want to share?
I mean, if I think about it, my very first job at the Beacon Island, I think I was fired after 6 weeks.
Now we need to know that.
I was fired. And then it was like a month later, the management changed and then I was asked to come back. So I'd like to say it wasn't me, it was my boss. But yeah, I was fired from my first job, actually.
Sure.
Was it devastating?
It was very humbling. It was very humbling. Yeah. It was not how I expected life to unfold at that stage.
All right, so let's get a little reflective here. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would that be?
I think it would be not to allow limitations, self-imposed limitations, to influence your decisions. So in other words, I would say to myself, don't make decisions based out of fear.
Okay, good advice.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, the next section is called Fun and Slightly Naughty. And there's only one person in the studio who can ask those questions. It's Peter. So let me hand you back to him.
But there we go. Yeah. So listen, I've been listening to you, Southern Sun, Party Entertainment, to that. Be honest here and be brutal. Any secret talents or party tricks your classmates never knew about?
Oh, gosh, I'm going to now expose myself here. I was a pretty cool pole dancer at one stage.
Oh, wow. I'm really hoping it becomes an Olympic sport.
But listen, that only came out after hours, after copious amounts of drinking and partying.
No problem. When you're back in Germany, we'll test that. Is there anything you could have considered criminal that you did back at school?
In school, no, nothing criminal. No, in school, really. I mean, once I was out of school, I walked on the fringes of what might have been considered criminal at a time. But
well, we won't ask that. That's the next question. Which teacher would you most want to have a drink with now? And what would you ask them?
You know what? I must be honest. There were very, very few teachers that I was particularly impressed by. So I think the only teacher I would be keen to connect with was it Mr. Geiger, the history teacher?
Oh, the history one, yeah.
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
The impression, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and this the outfits that I think there. But what was your go-to outfit or look in the 80s? Be honest. Short pants.
Oh my God. No, listen, I was all about tights and leg warmers. Hey, I was a dancer. And then Chantal and I went through a phase where we used to wear our sweatshirt as pants. So we used to put our legs through the arms. We were so cool.
Okay. Well, I don't know quite how to come back on that one. But
Sonja, second last section. We're getting to the end. We're going to look at reflection and legacy. Cool. How do you think Bryanston High shaped who you are today?
I think, you know what, that's a really difficult question to answer. I'm going to be honest with you because, as I said to you right at the beginning, I don't have that wow, high school was so amazing memory. because it really, for me, it was more about trying to endure it so that I could, after school, I could go to dance class and follow my passion. So what do I remember about Bryanston? I think about the masses of people. I mean, it was like nearly 1,000 students in that school at one stage. It was just masses and masses and masses of people. I remember that very distinctly. For someone like me who I think likes to be alone and likes to be private, I think that was a little bit overwhelming. So I think that may have reinforced that character trait in me, to actually not want to always be part of the big crowds. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So solitude and endurance is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, pretty much, I suppose.
If you could say one thing to your younger self in matric, what would it be?
Party more.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, what advice would you give to today's students at Bryanston High?
I'm going to sound like such an old person now, but oh my God, don't get sucked into social media. Don't compare yourself to everyone pretending to live this fabulous life and
I love that.
be so perfect. It's such a false world, and it's such a dreadful thing to try and compare yourself to. So yeah, that would be my advice. Stay out of social media as much as possible.
All right. Two
Cool.
questions to go. I'm going to hand you back to Pete.
So,
Okay.
Sonja, finally, if we had to create a song for our 87 podcast, a soundtrack that would play out as we close it, what would it be?
Like, must I just name a whole bunch of songs?
Yeah, well, you can. We'll edit it until we find the right one.
No, what Pete's trying to ask
First
is,
song that comes to mind.
if we were going to close out today with a 1987 song or a 1980 song for this podcast, what would it be?
So, I mean, Jackie, I think, brought it up. Tainted Love was definitely a song.
my word. Yeah, but okay, I have to ask Tainted Love, the kind of why Tainted Love. But let's move on from that. We've got one last question, and we're asking everyone this because we don't know. So
Okay.
we're trying to find out. I don't know if you remember, there was a fellow student of ours called Lapkos Varkas, and we're trying to find him. Do you know where he is?
No idea. I don't remember him either. Sorry.
Where do you think he'd be? Where do you think he'd be?
Just take a shot.
He
I don't-
he sounds like he's from Greece, so maybe he's gone back to Greece. Maybe he lives in Berkeley East and on the Lesotho border somewhere.
Sonja, thanks for joining us today. It was an amazing, amazing chat with you. And that's another walk down memory lane with the class of 87. Older, wiser, and still laughing at the same old jokes. Thanks for listening. And remember, you can leave Bryanston High, but Bryanston High never really leaves you. Until next time, stay cheeky, stay curious, and keep the stories coming.